Hey guys, so welcome back to Building Your Dream. I'm back in the caravan and this weekend I'm going to be working on getting all the tiles in and hopefully most of the pallets. So we're going to do a pallet roof and some more pallet walls, and then I need to get the tiles all done in the bathroom, and then we'll see how we go from there. Hopefully be able to get in a door, maybe a new bench top for the kitchen.
And we're back. Alright, first thing I want to say is, wow, aren't I ambitious? I really try to fit a lot into a small amount of time, and I have no perception of the time itself. So I really feel like I can get crazy things done in one day. Anyway, back to the tiling. So last time I was here, I didn't bring enough tiles, and so I wasn't able to finish this. So that's what we're doing this time, just finishing up all those little bit of tiles that need to get done. The hard thing about this was cutting all the little tiny bits, because they were such tiny little cuts. It was really hard with the tile cutter that I had. I would recommend getting a good tile cutter if you're going to be doing a lot of tiles, because this was okay for pretty standard cuts, but anything other than that, not really. I also mentioned in my last episode of renovating the caravan that any wood that you put into a bathroom or wet area, it does need to be sealed or treated somehow, just so that the water doesn't get into it and create mold and damage the wood. I also mentioned last episode that the reason I don't have an actual drain in there yet is because I have ordered one at this point, but it had not arrived. So I like to jump the gun a lot, and you cannot tell me to wait. I just will not. So I just wanted to get into it, and I ended up leaving the space, and it worked out fine in the end. Okay, making a laundry shelf. I just did this basically by a piece of recycled wood from Marketplace. I think it's from some kind of maybe closet or cupboard or something like that. But I have been using it for quite a few things, like the composting toilet, and I basically just cut this bit to size. It probably could have been a little bit bigger. That would have been helpful. But I mean, it's what I had and it looked nice. So I made it work. And then I basically just put some little angle iron type things just onto the sides of the walls and onto the bottom of this shelf, and just made sure it was level, because basically my dryer is going to sit on top and then my washing machine down the bottom. Also, I am so ridiculously sorry that I do not know the correct terminology for any of these things. I promise I am going to progress and I will learn some things. We're all in this together, okay? The next thing that I had to tackle was this bench. I knew that I hated it and I really did not want it there anymore. So it had to go. And so that was just the main part, get it out. And that's what I'm doing. And I successfully got it out with willpower, and that's about it. To be fair, that bench is probably very water damaged, and also probably the reason why it was so easy for me to remove.
Actually not as hard as I thought it was going to be.
And it was straight onto making a new bench. So I didn't go out and buy a bench. I literally just used a recycled pallet that happened to be Jarrah wood. So very nice wood. And cut it into 3 parts and sanded it all back, varnished it, sealed it, and it looks a beaut. I really like it. Oh, I also siliconed the joins of the 3 parts together as well. And then it was on to one of my favourite jobs, tiling. So, doing the splashback. Look, I don't know if I should have taken this back bit off first. I cleaned it, I made sure that it was okay to have things stuck on it, but I really don't know if that's the right or wrong thing to do. Nothing's come of it, it looks fine, everything's working, so hopefully. But I mean, it had to be covered up, it was pretty gross. Oh boy, the pallet roof. Let's just say this was the hardest part of the caravan renovation by far. And you know what? That may be because sometimes I insist on making my life harder. Like, did I try to create a proper tool to help me hold these pallets up there? No. So most of the pallet roof, I would say, was not recorded. And that would be for 2 reasons. One being it would be like hours on hours of footage, and two being I was probably very frustrated in most of that footage.
Hey guys, I've made a start on the pallet roof, but wow, it's going to take forever because I can't stand there and just hold it. And I've just got one long beam like this that's kind of holding it up, but not great. And then I've stuck one on the side to hold the second one up, but I'm worried they're going to fall. So I'm just going to have to do it slowly like that and do other things while they're drying, and then I'll just like casually move the beam along once it's dried enough to hold itself. As you can see, this roof is taking me forever. These are all my little contraptions to try and make it stay, but I think that's just as much as I can do right now without the whole thing coming crashing down. So I might just have to wait for it to dry overnight and keep going in the morning.
Okay, so the fireplace stand is one I looked up quite a bit because I considered it was probably pretty important, which it is. And you need to think about quite a few things. So you need a material, not like on the base. So right now I've got wood that I'm creating, but then you need material in between that, something like cement fiber, bricks, stone, something like that that's non-combustible. And then you need a good amount of space as well between that and the fireplace and a few other elements. And then it was time to grout the tiles. Now this was a very satisfying job. More so the first time I did it, because the first time I got this like real white, like extreme white, that's not the right word, but ultra white maybe, and it was extremely white grout and it looked so good. But then the next time I just got like the standard white and it definitely didn't do as good of a job. So if you want that, I would go for the like real bright white. It looks fantastic. Okay, so I literally couldn't tell you how many coats of varnish I did in the end. Like it was a lot of coats of varnish. There was a sale or something on Marketplace. Some business was selling varnish for $5 a litre. And so I grabbed 10 litres of it and they said nothing was wrong with it. But I don't know. I feel like it wasn't the best. And I just kept doing layers and layers and layers because I wanted a bit of a better colour. So there was, yeah, I honestly have no idea how many layers, but I think I really like the final result. Like it's a really nice colour. I used filler on the floor, so I just wanted to make sure that I did a quick sand back before I got to the varnish on the floor. So I was trying to make sure that I didn't have like an overwhelmingly amount of wood, if you know what I mean, an overwhelming amount. And so I wanted to paint the top bits of the walls this beautiful colour. Absolutely love it. Cannot remember what it's called, but it's gorgeous. Okay, shall we have a little tour of how things are going? Okay, so like I said before, non-combustible walls. Non-combustible. Very important for fireplace. So for my fireplace walls, I used fibre cement board and non-combustible tiles. Okay, now we're going in with a shellac for the bench just to make sure it is protected from all the splashing water. Going in with another coat of white paint. I'm pretty sure I did like 5 or 6 of these coats as well. And not by any means because you have to, but because I didn't have new paint. I had recycled paint. Okay, we're just going to seal these timber floors as well, just in case anything splashes on them, dogs, water, what have you not. So I actually took these cupboard doors and hinges off and took them away to where I was staying, and I painted them and sanded them and everything there. Cheeky. Okay, really important, just make sure you wash off the grout, like sponge it all off with like a nice hot soapy sponge type thing, just to make sure that it doesn't all stick. And now of course we have to grout the fireplace tiles as well. Okay, finally onto a more exciting part. So I had to make a barn door, and what do you think I used again? Yeah, pallets. So there was this pallet that already had like a crossbar beam thing on it, and I was like, well, surely I can't use that. Like, it's not going to be the right size or anything. Measured up the little door space and cutting it in half, because why did I have to? Oh, because it was like wider. So cutting it in half made it fit perfectly lengthways. So I was like, well, done. So, and then I just had to find a way to attach the two halves together. And I did that with more recycled wood. So actually the same wood that I used to cut up to make the frames. So I had one bit left of that, cut that in half, and cut that in half, and I had a bit left over, and then the two halves went on the sides, and then I had enough for the top and the bottom as well. Okay, making window frames. Now this was both fun and challenging. It took me a long time to find out how to make the frame. Like, I know it sounds simple, but to cut a skirting, like a piece of skirting like I had, and then create that angle, that perfect angle for the frame, was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. So I actually wasted a little bit of skirting doing it, and eventually in the end I found this tactic where you kind of just cut the two pieces to length, place one over the other, and draw lines where they fall, and then measure from there. It sounds really complicated. I might do a video on it actually. And of course we had to make sure that this fireplace was going to fit, and it worked out to actually be quite a tight fit. So I needed to make sure there's like enough space between everything, like the barn door and the fireplace and all this stuff with a fire going, so that nothing combusts basically and it's all safe. But it worked out just fitting safely. Okay, so securing the window frames. I'm not gonna say my window frames are perfect. They're really far from it. Some of them are like really good, but if you were to average out the window frames, yeah, they're average at best. And so that's because I basically didn't have any more skirting to use. So I cut what I did. The last ones that I did ended up way better than the first one, so I did get better as I went on, so it's a practice thing as always. But then I basically just attached them with liquid nails. And then it was on to varnishing up the bit of the roof that I had up, which wasn't all of it, of course, yet. But making her look a bit pretty. Woohoo! Do a spin. What do we think? I reckon at this stage, I was stoked. It was looking real nice. See you for the final video.